Thank you very much. I'll try to be short. First of all, I want to thank Massimo D'Alema and Stetter for this wonderful initiative. I could only join you partly, but all the reactions I heard were very, very positive, and I think it is very good that we, as a group, could support that. Let me briefly say 10 points. First, Europe must be Europe again, and not only a federation of national states. We have a tendency of nationalization, renationalization, which is very dangerous. If we don't fight for Europe, we won't have a common foreign and security policy. So that's a basic. And there's a strong fight we as European social democrats have to fight. Secondly, as long as we don't solve our economic problems, there will be less and less readiness of our citizens to think about social inequality on a global level, about social injustice on a global level. The recent debate we had on migration and the drawback of the ministers of interior to make it more easy to raise frontiers again is a sign of that. Therefore, the basic issue is, of course, to solve the economic problems in Europe itself. Thirdly, there have been many talks about enlargement and active neighborhood policy. Many mistakes have been made. I agree, especially also towards the south. By the way, France, we as European socialists did not have strong ties to Ben Ali and the others. What we did not demand is that Socialist International throw them out. But we again and again did tell them they have to reform, otherwise the crisis will come. And the crisis came. Perhaps we were not strong enough in that. But here we should have been. We need political alliance. We need an opening of the markets. We speak much about it, but we did not do much. A bit in Morocco, but on the other hand, when it's about fisheries, already there was some hesitation, and of course, democracy support. Because the revolution is not over. It's not over in Libya, it's not over in Egypt. Hopefully it's not over in Egypt. We have still a lot of developments to see how will they come in Algeria and other countries. So our attention must be there, but our concrete help is necessary. Not only talk, but action. Fourth, Turkey has been mentioned several times. Yes, we have to change our attitude. By the way, Cyprus did not decide to stop, but Turkey decided not to attend any meeting where Cyprus takes the chair, but Cyprus is chair of the European Union for 6 months. And we are very, very sad that in Turkey itself, and this has been mentioned, Mr. Erdogan moved away from a real reform process to a process where too many people are in jail, too many fundamentalist ideology is represented. I was very happy yesterday when I heard that the Turkish party first time condemned terrorism by PKK, so that should be a basis for Turkish government to think about the Kurdish issue in a different way at the day in the past. I'm happy that the leader of CHP supported that, while some other did not, but also in CHP there has to be some change. To the Middle East, I don't want to extend, only one sentence. I agree with Isaac Herzog that we should not miss the opportunity now. We have been many disappointments. But if Abu Musa says Israel has to start and Herzog says, well, the Arab world and the Palestinians have to start, we don't come together. Perhaps you can agree that both have to start to change their language and their action. And of course, settlements for us, settlements for us can never be supported because they are a big danger for peace, for the Israeli population. Not only for the Palestinians, but for the Israeli population. But nevertheless, I think we should try to go a step forwards. The fifth point, out of the debate, we have in some way to combine a strong fight for human rights, but we cannot refrain from realpolitik sometimes. The balance was not right, especially also towards North Africa. But we shouldn't have illusions. Our fight for human rights has to be combined sometimes also with realpolitik, otherwise we could not talk to the Chinese leadership, for example, or to others. But nevertheless, as we saw in Burma, to have a strong line and say we will never give up to fight for somebody whom we gave in the European Parliament the Sakharov Prize, may, at the end of the day, with a strong international community, have positive results. The sixth point, I think, all the debates, security policy for us Social Democrats is not only a military. In the contrary, sometimes the military is engaging and is developing and creating more insecurity, as we saw in Iraq. I don't want to speak about Afghanistan. We can speak in 2 years what the intervention has brought. But so it is a very broad concept where environment and social issues have to be dealt with. They are still under-respected. Environmental question and social question as part of security policy are still undervalued. Seventh point, on the BRICS countries, I think things have been changing, and we are in Europe not taking account enough of the new role of some of the BRICS countries, not perhaps as a community as such, but individually. And therefore, also my political group will try again to go in the direction of having new relationships, and this is my 8 points, especially also with Latin America. There are many progressive forces in Latin America, perhaps under different titles, not always as title socialists or social democrats, but we have to develop that. And by the way, this is something all around the world we have, and this is my appeal also to the meeting of Socialist International, the end of August. We have to broaden our approach. We have many important parties who are not officially socialists, but who are parties who are on the progressive side. May I say, sometimes more progressive than some of the parties who are called socialists or social democrats, but this is just, you didn't hear it, but it is the truth. And therefore we have to develop these forces. And the last but one point on Africa, is a very diverse continent. Again, there are so many positive developments in Africa we have to see, and in many countries already economic progress, political progress is here, and we have to support it. But, and this is my last point, colonialism is over, but neo-colonialism is not over, politically but also economically. If I see many of our companies, oil and other companies, especially in the extractive industry, that do something which still is exploiting many of countries, together maybe with some corrupt elites, and the Chinese working on the same level, which is another issue, but we should not only speak about China, we should speak about our own companies. I don't want to mention singular, but still this kind of development for social democrats is not acceptable. In that sense, because Ernst is very strong and severe, I just wanted to mention some 10 leading points for us as a group in the European Parliament. There are many other points about it. You could talk about Russia and others. But because I still believe we have created a high representative, we have created an external action service, we have not yet created a real common foreign security policy, which is much broader than national foreign policy can be, much less led by particular national interest. Therefore, this debate, as it was here, and as I could hear it, and I could hear from participants, is an important contribution to have a real European foreign and security policy, because that is what Europe needs. It needs much more else, but it needs that kind of foreign and security policy. And if you help to build this kind of mosaic, where we have more stones now in, thank you very much, and thank you to FEPS for that.